Jack Lawson's fingers tingled as he struck the match, the small flame springing to life and casting flickering shadows across the alien landscape. He glanced at his team and the gathered aliens, their eyes reflecting the firelight with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. "Here goes nothing," he murmured, carefully placing the match to the kindling. The fire caught quickly, crackling and popping, its warmth immediately dispelling the evening chill. The alien observers, tall and slender with iridescent skin, edged closer, their interest piqued by this primitive human ritual. Jack stood back, dusting off his hands, and turned to Dr. Emily Carter, his second-in-command and the team's anthropologist. "This should be interesting," Emily whispered, her eyes scanning the alien faces. "I think we've got their attention." Jack nodded. "Let's hope it's the right kind of attention." He stepped forward, addressing the alien group. "This is called a campfire. It's a place for warmth, for sharing stories, and for coming together." Zalnox, one of the more inquisitive aliens, took a step forward. "What is a story?" The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of cultural significance. Before Jack could respond, Commander Dravik, the leader of the alien contingent, interjected. "Is this some kind of trick, human? A distraction?" His tone was sharp, and his posture rigid, exuding distrust. Jack met Dravik's gaze evenly. "No trick. This is about understanding each other." He gestured to the fire. "It's a simple thing, but it brings people together. Perhaps it can do the same for us." Dravik's eyes narrowed, but he didn't reply. Instead, he took a step back, allowing Zalnox to move closer to the fire. The other aliens followed suit, their curiosity overcoming their caution. Emily knelt beside the fire, pulling out a small, ancient artifact from her bag. "This is a piece of our history," she explained, holding it up for all to see. "It's a symbol of where we come from and the stories we carry with us." Zalnox's eyes widened as he studied the artifact. "It is beautiful," he said softly. "Our people have stories too, but we tell them differently." He looked up at Jack. "May I share one?" Jack smiled, feeling a surge of hope. "Of course. That's what this fire is for." Zalnox began to speak, his voice melodic and rich with emotion. He told of his people's origins, their triumphs, and their challenges. The humans listened intently, captivated by the tale. Even Dravik seemed to soften, his posture relaxing slightly as he listened. As the story concluded, a comfortable silence settled over the group, broken only by the crackling of the fire. Jack glanced at Emily, who gave him a small nod of encouragement. He turned back to the group. "Thank you, Zalnox. That was incredible." Zalnox bowed his head modestly. "Thank you for sharing your fire with us." The fire continued to burn brightly, a symbol of the tentative but growing bond between the two species. Jack felt a sense of accomplishment, but he knew this was only the beginning. There would be more stories, more challenges, and hopefully more understanding. As the night deepened, the firelight danced on the faces of humans and aliens alike, casting them in a warm, united glow. Jack allowed himself a small smile. Maybe, just maybe, they could make this work. "Tomorrow," Jack said, "we'll share another story. Together." The aliens nodded, and for the first time, Jack saw hope reflected in their eyes. The spark of curiosity had been ignited, and he was determined to keep it burning. The campfire crackled, its light casting a warm glow on the faces of both humans and aliens. "I have a story," Zalnox announced, breaking the uneasy silence. His voice, calm yet filled with emotion, captivated everyone around the fire. Jack Lawson leaned forward, intrigued by the aliens' willingness to share. This was exactly the kind of moment he had hoped for. As Zalnox began his tale, the humans and aliens listened intently, their previous suspicions momentarily forgotten. The story wove through the history of Zalnox's people, detailing their struggles and triumphs, their connection to the stars, and their quest for understanding. The fire flickered in time with his words, creating a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow. When he finished, a profound silence enveloped the group. "That was beautiful, Zalnox," Dr. Emily Carter said softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Thank you for sharing it with us. The alien bowed his head, humbled by the human's reactions. Your fire has inspired me, he admitted. It feels right to share here. Commander Dravik, who had been silently observing from the edge of the gathering, stepped forward. Perhaps we have underestimated the value of such simple traditions, he mused, his tone less harsh than before. There is power in these stories, in this fire. Just as a sense of unity began to settle in, a loud crack of thunder shattered the calm. Dark clouds had been gathering unnoticed, and now a fierce storm was upon them. The wind howled, whipping the flames of the campfire dangerously. Quickly, we need to protect the fire, Jack shouted, rallying both his team and the aliens. In a flurry of movement, humans and aliens worked side by side, using tarps, branches, and anything they could find to shield the precious flame. Amidst the chaos, Jack found himself next to Dravik. The alien leader's hands were steady, his eyes focused. We must not let it go out, Dravik said, his voice determined. This fire represents more than just light now. Jack nodded, a sense of camaraderie forming between them. Together, they managed to stabilize the fire, the storm's fury slowly abating. As the winds died down and the rain ceased, a cheer rose from the group, their collective relief palpable. Emily, drenched but smiling, approached Jack and Dravik. We did it, she said, her voice filled with pride. Dravik looked at her, then at Jack. It seems we can achieve much when we work together, he acknowledged. This fire has proven that. Jack clapped Dravik on the back. Agreed. Let's keep this tradition alive. As the group settled back around the fire, now more unified than ever, Emily produced a small, ancient artifact from her bag. I brought something to share as well, she said, holding it up for all to see. The object, a delicate piece of carved bone, caught the light of the fire, its intricate patterns mesmerizing. This is an artifact from Earth's early civilizations, Emily explained. It symbolizes our history and our shared experiences. Perhaps it can become part of our new tradition. The aliens leaned in, their interest piqued. Zalnox reached out to touch the artifact, his fingers tracing the delicate carvings. It is exquisite, he murmured. Our people have similar symbols. Perhaps we can exchange these as tokens of our unity. Jack smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. That sounds like a perfect addition to our campfire gatherings. Let's make it a tradition. As the night wore on, humans and aliens shared more stories, each one bringing them closer together. The fire, once a mere source of warmth, had become a beacon of hope and understanding. And as the flames danced higher, so did their spirits, united by a newfound respect and a shared tradition. The storm had passed, but the fire burned brighter than ever, lighting the way for a future filled with promise and cooperation. The campfire crackled warmly, casting a golden glow on the circle of humans and aliens. Tonight, we share something new, Emily said, holding up an artifact from Earth. The intricate patterns on the carved bone reflected the firelight, mesmerizing the onlookers. This artifact, Emily began, is from one of Earth's earliest civilizations. It represents unity and shared history, something we are beginning to create together. The aliens leaned in closer, their interest piqued. Zalnox, whose curiosity had become a bridge between the species, reached out to touch the artifact. Our people have similar symbols, he murmured, tracing the carvings with a delicate touch. Perhaps we can exchange these as tokens of our unity. Jack Lawson watched the interaction, a sense of accomplishment swelling within him. That's a wonderful idea, he said. Let's start a tradition of exchanging symbols during our gatherings. The group agreed, their spirits high. The fire, which had initially served as a mere curiosity, had become a powerful symbol of their growing bond. Yet, as the night progressed, an unexpected tension crept into the atmosphere. A sudden rustling in the bushes drew everyone's attention. Dravik, ever the vigilant leader, stood up, his eyes scanning the darkness. Who's there? He demanded, his voice echoing through the clearing. From the shadows emerged a group of aliens, their expressions grim. The leader, a stern-looking alien named Tuvok, stepped forward. "We have been watching you," he said, his voice filled with suspicion. "We do not trust these humans and their fire." The peaceful ambience shattered, replaced by a palpable tension. Jack stood up, his posture calm but authoritative. "We mean no harm," he said, meeting Tuvok's gaze. "This fire is a symbol of peace and understanding." Tuvok sneered. "Symbols can deceive. We've seen how fires destroy. Why should we believe in your intentions?" Emily stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "This fire is different. It's not for destruction but for connection. Sit with us and you'll see." Tuvok hesitated, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. The other aliens watched him, waiting for his decision. After a tense moment, he nodded reluctantly and joined the circle. His followers did the same, albeit warily. To diffuse the tension, Zalnox began another story, this one about a great alliance between his ancestors and a neighboring tribe. The tale was filled with challenges, but it ended in unity and mutual respect. As he spoke, the tension gradually eased, the soothing rhythm of his voice and the warmth of the fire creating a calming effect. When Zalnox finished, Tuvok looked thoughtful. "Perhaps there is merit in your fire," he conceded. "But trust is not easily earned." Jack nodded. "Trust takes time, but we're willing to earn it one story at a time." As the night deepened, humans and aliens shared more stories and symbols. The initial tension gave way to a cautious optimism. Jack felt a sense of progress. Despite the challenges, they were moving forward. Just as the gathering seemed to be winding down, a bright light shot across the sky, a meteor streaking past in a blaze of color. The group watched in awe, the shared moment creating a deeper connection. Jack turned to Emily and whispered, "A good omen, don't you think?" Emily smiled, her eyes reflecting the meteor's light. "I'd like to think so." The meteor's trail faded, but the fire burned brighter than ever, a beacon of hope and unity. As the flames danced higher, Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were not just surviving on this alien planet. They were building something new, something that could last. The campfire blazed brightly, casting long shadows and bathing the gathered faces in a warm, golden hue. Jack Lawson stood before the group, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Tonight, we celebrate our new tradition," he declared, his voice resonant with hope and determination. The aliens and humans around the fire nodded in agreement, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and excitement. Dravik, the once skeptical alien leader, stepped forward, holding a beautifully crafted symbol from his culture. "We wish to offer this as a sign of our commitment to this new alliance," he said, presenting the intricately carved stone to Jack. Jack accepted the symbol with reverence, feeling the weight of the moment. "Thank you, Dravik. This means a great deal to us." He placed the alien artifact beside the human artifact Emily had shared, creating a small but meaningful collection of their joint history. As the ceremony continued, a sense of unity and shared purpose filled the air. Zalnox, standing beside Emily, turned to her and said, "I never thought I'd see the day when our people would come together like this. It's remarkable." Emily smiled, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "It's amazing what can happen when we open our hearts and minds to each other." Just then, a loud crash from the forest edge interrupted the gathering. Tuvok and his followers emerged, their faces grim. "We have a problem," Tuvok announced, his tone urgent. "A rogue faction from our tribe refuses to accept this alliance. They're planning to attack." The atmosphere, once filled with celebration, now buzzed with tension. Jack stepped forward, his mind racing. "How much time do we have?" "Not much," Tuvok replied. "They're armed and determined to stop this union." Dravik's eyes hardened. "We must defend this campfire and our newfound bond. We cannot let fear and division win." Jack nodded, his resolve solidifying. "Agreed. We'll stand together and show them the strength of our unity." He turned to Emily and Zalnox. "Coordinate our defenses. We need to be ready. As the group sprang into action, the sounds of preparation filled the air. Humans and aliens worked side by side, reinforcing barriers and readying their weapons. The fire, now a symbol of their shared determination, burned brighter than ever. The first signs of the rogue faction appeared at the tree line, their silhouettes menacing in the dim light. Jack raised his hand, signaling for silence. "Hold your ground," he commanded. "Let's try to reason with them first." Dravik stepped forward, his voice carrying authority. "Brothers and sisters, we seek peace, not war. This campfire represents our hope for a united future." A tense silence followed, broken only by the crackling of the fire. Then, from the shadows, a figure emerged. It was an elder alien, his face lined with age and wisdom. "I see the truth in your words," he said slowly. "But there are those who fear change." Jack stepped forward, his voice steady. "Fear can be powerful, but so can hope. Together, we can build a future where both our peoples thrive." The elder nodded thoughtfully. "Let us discuss this further, away from the heat of conflict." As negotiations began, the tension gradually eased. The rogue faction's resolve weakened, swayed by the promise of a peaceful future. By dawn, a tentative agreement had been reached, and the threat of violence had subsided. Jack watched the sunrise with a sense of relief and accomplishment. Beside him, Dravik and the elder alien shared a quiet conversation, their voices filled with hope. Emily and Zalnox stood nearby, their expressions reflecting the night's trials and triumphs. "We did it," Emily whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "We really did it." Jack nodded, a smile breaking across his face. "Yes, we did. And this is just the beginning." As the campfire's embers glowed in the early light, they symbolized more than warmth and survival. They represented a new dawn of unity, understanding, and hope. Jack knew there would be challenges ahead, but with their bond forged in the fire, they were ready to face whatever came next, together.